Yo, what up? This is Cesar here, bringing you another video from the Create with Cesar vlog. Today I'm going to show you how to make a custom kitchen sign, a personalized kitchen sign that you can make at home with no problem. All right? Hope you like this video, and let's get right to it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do now is work on the artwork, which is basically a vector-based Illustrator file. Okay, and you can import this file into whatever program it is that you're working with. I am supplying you with 3 different files here, and obviously this is if you decide to download the file from my website. You're going to have this template, this exact template to use and edit and make changes and make a sign for yourself or for whomever you want to make a sign for. You're going to get 3 different files: an AI file, an EPS file, and an SVG file. Now, one of these 3 formats should work with whatever software it is that you're working with. Okay, just so you know. And I will be supplying the fonts used on this particular design. So these are the 3 different fonts that pertain to that file. Alright, so this sign here, or this design, is set up at 12 by 7 1/4. And the reason it's 7 1/4 is because that's the standard width of a 1x8 pine wood. You can change the size of this file to fit whatever size wood sign it is that you're making. I've made this sign in many different sizes, all the way up to 24 by 36. Now you may have to do a little bit of manipulating just because the proportions may not be, exactly set up for that size of sign, but you have the flexibility to resize it, and make it whatever it is that you need. But for this example, we're just gonna make this sign into a 12 by 7 1/4 wood sign. All right, so as you can see here, there's 3 different text boxes. The first one says Samantha's, the second one kitchen, and established 2014. All you do is you double click on the text box and you can highlight and replace it with whatever name you want. Depending on the name, sometimes you will have to manipulate the spacing between the letters. In Adobe Illustrator, you highlight the font, and then you come over here into your characters palette and you increase the spacing if you need to for this file. So I'm gonna go with 700 because the name is a little short, and then I think I'm gonna go a little bigger, and you just have to manipulate it and adjust it just to make it look right. Okay, and I believe that looks pretty good to me. And the other thing is just the 2018. You can put whatever date you want here. You can change it to EST dot February 2018 and the whole date if you want, right? But this customer wants it to say established 2018, and that's the standard default design for this particular project. All right, so now that we got everything set up, we do need to convert this to outlines. At the moment, each text box is a text box, which means that you can actually go in here and edit the fonts and the text. But in order for my machine to cut it, I have to convert this to outlines. And the way you do that is you select the artwork, and then you go into type, create outlines. And then what that does, it converts this from a text box into artwork. So now if I zoom in here, you can see that there's a path around the letters, and that's what the machine needs to see. It needs to see the path so that it can follow it. Okay, so that's how you do a create with outlines. On my machine, it's necessary to have that. Not sure if it is on yours or not. Some machines do cut if you just have that, but I think the problem with doing it this way is that because this is set up on an oval text path, if you were to once you select everything, it actually makes the graphic bigger because of that big circle there. So I just, on my machine, you have to convert it to outlines before you send it to get cut on the machine. All right, so we're simply gonna go to File, Cutting Master to, Cut Plot. Then that opens up my little plugin here for Cutting Master within Illustrator. And then I just like to set this up in a way where I conserve material. So I like to print it this way. This is the horizontal way that it's going to print on the vinyl machine. And then just make sure you don't have this thing flipped, because it will print backwards if you don't have it set up right. And other than that, that's it. And then you hit send and you start cutting the vinyl. I'm using the GraphTech CE3000 model. It's an older model GraphTech cutter. It's about 10 years old, but it has been working like a champ, honestly. So if you're looking for a vinyl machine, consider the GraphTech brand and get that, because it will last a very long time. Alright, so once you have the vinyl cut, then what you need to do is weed it. And what you do here is remove all of the lettering, the designs, and the frame. Anything that needs to get painted onto the wood, you take out, and you leave the rest. So you do that to every single character. Every little detail within your design needs to come out if it's going to get painted onto the sign. Alright, so now we're getting ready to lay down the transfer tape. I just cut a little piece just for that area, and I lay it down on the vinyl, spread it out with my hands, and then I use the squeegee to press down. And then I trim it, and it will be ready for applying onto the wood on the next step. Okay, now we're simply going to remove the paper backing from the vinyl, and the vinyl should stick to the transfer tape. Just peel it back slowly, and then flip it around and match up the corners of your vinyl to the corners of your sign, and it should be centered. Okay, you press down with your hands, and then you grab a squeegee and you start pressing down from left to right, and then slowly peel back the transfer tape, making sure that you don't rip any of the vinyl that's lifting up. Sometimes that happens. So you just peel back, and then your vinyl will be applied to the sign at this point. And then you can apply some transfer tape, the same transfer tape you removed. You can use it as a mask, like masking tape, all the way around the sign so that you don't get any paint on the edges of your wood sign. I just like to do that as a precaution. Alright, so now we're going to start painting the sign. And so what I like to use is just a piece of sponge. I cut down a block of sponge into little squares, and then I use that and I dab the entire sign with whatever color I want to paint the sign with. And I just keep doing that until I've covered the entire area where I see the wood below. And you can see that right within the letters and the designs. Just got to make sure you have enough paint on there. Alright, so now that our sign is all dried up, we can start removing the vinyl. And you just start peeling back until you've removed every single piece of vinyl from the wood sign. Don't be afraid to just peel back. It's not going to ruin the sign in any way. Right here I'm using a weeding tool, which is basically a sharp, straight pick, and it allows me to get right underneath the letters and lift up the vinyl so that I can grab it. It's a very handy tool, and you can pick one of these up at your local sign supply store or on Amazon for just a few bucks. After you remove all the vinyl, you can add a coat of polyacrylic to add a little protection and scratch resistancy to the sign, which is what I'm doing here. Polyacrylic comes in a can that you can brush on, or you can get the one that's a spray to make things go a little quicker. Alright, that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video. Thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to my channel. And if you want to download the vector file for this project and try this at home, you can go to createwithcesar.com and download it there. Thanks again, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace!